I think I can safely say that Ratchet Clank and Harry Potter are two of my favorite franchises, bottom line. I simply can't bring myself to not defend these two franchises in particular to death. Which is the case with Ratchet Clank especially. This is the franchise that has lasted from the year I turned 4 years old up to now, the year I turned 18. So yeah, these are old games that have been with me from my childhood all up to my early adulthood. Seeing as this is the year I turned 18, I let my fate get the better half of me the very moment I found about the movie back in 2013. Back when a 2-year-long wait seemed like a lot, and even then the film got delayed to 2016, and now we're finally here. The year I'll count as an adult, and I'm still playing a game where a bobcat runs around on planet shooting monsters with a backpack essentially distributed by Inspector Gadget. I doubt this video will be short, because this is a game that means too much for me. While I'm looking forward to Uncharted 4, which hasn't been released as of writing this, I'll come clean and say that RNC on PS4 was the final stretch. This is what I needed to justify my purchase of a new console. Let me tell ya, the PS4 has given me what, in my opinion, the best game of 2014, as well as one of my favorite third-person shooters, bottom line, which is also now one of my favorite games of 2015. But who cares about those games? I already reviewed one of them! Go watch it! First thing to note here is that this game reeks of a movie licensed game. Granted, not in a bad way, but in how it's presented. With clips from the movie playing in between segments, and let me tell you, from these clips alone I can tell I'm at least going to enjoy this film. The animation is just insanely good. This is Lego Movie and Adventures of Tintin level good. Almost. Just almost. I'm just gonna play a clip here and hope to all of the gods I don't believe in I won't get a copyright notice or a strike or some shit like that. Please, Insomniac, be cool now.
I must get to Alero City. They are in danger.
Whoa, hey, who's in danger?
An army is coming. I must warn them.
Some say this is really a direct-to-DVD level of quality, but come on. If Elvin and the Shippunk warrants a theatrical release, hell yeah, Ratchet Clank does.
It can have you fixed up in no time.
Thank you. I appreciate the assistance.
But yeah, the animation is really good. The amount of squash and stress is held back just enough to look lifelike, yet cartoony enough to please people like me who prefer animation with lasting cartoony appeal. But don't get me wrong, I love realistic animation like in Tintin, The Secret of the Unicorn. But it definitely only worked well because of its dynamic camera. Take the motorbike sequence for instance. During this sequence, the camera is dynamic throughout the entire thing. It's honestly probably my favorite sequence in an animated feature of all time. This reeks of Spielberg. It's over the top but feels so freaking real. No one but Spielberg can pull off something like this, honestly. Now the animation in RNC is nothing achievement worthy, but definitely worthy of appreciation for making the most out of the resources. They've gotten cartoony as fuck characters, move and act within the boundaries of reality, and maintain a cartoony appeal. The animation in the cutscene from the film is extremely nice. Not anything about Pixar I'd say, but definitely on the level of DreamWorks. But that's just the animation in the cutscene from the film. The in-game animation is also really good for what it is. Granted, game animation is a whole lot of these from film animation, because in film you animate a performance for each character as opposed to game where all animations are seamless animated cycles set to trigger by action. And the animation is very classic RNC. The great animation is greatly complemented by this game's absolutely gorgeous graphics. I'm not gonna dwell on this, it's just good, okay? The story follows a bobcat-like alien known as a Lombax named Ratchet. He's a typical underdog, underappreciated character who wants to be like the big boys. He's a very young fellow with a curiosity that often gets the better half of him. He is very determined but still very accepting and humble when he doesn't get what he wants.
You don't have what it takes.
But I have heart.
Yes, but unfortunately that heart is encased in a weak, muscleless mass of inexperience. Plus there's your history to consider.
He's presented in a very kids movie hero type manner in this game, which honestly puts me off a bit due to his greater character arc spanning across all the original games. But the more I played, the more I loved his PS4 incarnation. Can't say he's a bland character because this is after all a movie licensed game, and movie licensed games usually most of their universe's development up to the movies themselves. But it's not like it's a big deal in the end, seeing as we're all gonna see it anyways. Now I would love to break down all the characters in this game, but apart from Ratchet's personality, not a lot has changed, and pretty much nothing has changed when it comes to the writing and general gameplay. Captain Quark is pretty much the same, and generally a selfish knucklehead, but who puts himself aside to help his friends in the end. I love Captain Quark as a character because he is a physical embodiment of the term adorkable. Yet he's about as pointless and trashworthy as a tumor on legs in some instances, but we can't help it. We just like him.
It was mating season. How could I have known she was your sister? How long have you two been standing there?
Too long.
I think the focus on Korg is what made Ratchet Clank 3 so great, the absolute best in my opinion. Let's be honest with ourselves and break it all down. Ratchet Clank 3 was very much Korg's time to shine as a character. The most beloved Ratchet & Clank villain is heavily connected to Quark, which we even got to see through some cool side-scrolling mini-missions. Those weren't that fun, but nothing to put anyone completely off. In the previous game, Quark was very much a third wheel tagging along in the eyes of the fellow characters. While his inclusion was essential in the two first games, RNC3 made the most out of him. The PS4 remake might be the final stretch to make Captain Quark my personal favorite RNC character. After Lawrence, of course. He was a gangster. The entire narrative is told from Quark's perspective, which is pulled off so well by Jim Ward. So even if the film turns out to be complete utter crap, I bet the film is worth the watch just for the voice talents involved. But we cannot talk about the voice talents involved without mentioning the duo itself. James Arnold Taylor and David Kay makes the duo what it is. Mikey Kelly, who voiced Ratchet in Ratchet & Clank 1, did a great job as the initial Ratchet. But James Arnold Taylor, who came in first at Going Commando, makes Ratchet what he is. Of course not entirely, because you know animation. But the voice is one of the most crucial things to get right if you're gonna make your animated character work properly.
Oh, hey, Ronald Williams. I'm kind of like one of those drug commercials with all the lists of side effects. You know, that's pretty much me right now. Oh, hey.
This great voice work, coupled with moving eye candy, is only something that makes an animated feature worth it. And then we got David Kay as Clank, who's been there from the start, since 2002. Look at him. Is this man anything like you'd imagine pulling off this voice?
You're quite handy with your wrench.
David, you're nothing short of an orgasming decibel on legs. So yeah, the animation in the cinematic is great, the voice work is superb, and the writing, it's good. Nah, I'm just kidding, it's fucking brilliant.
Oh, you must mean the holo film. Yeah, it's pretty good, if you like all CG.
Oh, I love this. Now, it is very important to note that a lot of Ratchet & Clank writing has been very hit and miss throughout the entire franchise. When it hits hard. But I won't blame you for finding it corny at
They're
times.
making a game based on a holo film based on my life? But they haven't even consulted me.
But luckily the corniness kind of benefits the game, seeing as this is very self-aware writing. The same thing goes with the jokes, seeing as every single punchline is eased into it. I never found myself waiting for the punchline.
No problem. See you in the next reboot.
Now where was I? Oh yeah, the story. As mentioned, is centered on Ratchet, who meets a defect warbot named Clank. Ratchet is the underdog who wants to be like the big guys, and that's why he admires Quark so much. One day, the Galactic Rangers are having trial on Ratchet's home planet Veldin, and surprise, surprise, he doesn't make the cut. Of course, he eventually makes it into the Galactic Rangers through stumbling across them in a series of very convenient events. It is a very cliched way of getting around narrative structure, but it works. The story in this game is really nothing special, but it worked for the first game, and it works here. We don't exactly play RNC for the stories, even though they all have rather good stories. Anyhow, the story was slightly changed for a remake, seeing as it had to work within the structure of a movie. It does feel very happy-go-lucky at times. Even when Ratchet at his lowest in the story, he doesn't seem very upset, just very accepting, as if his grief took place off-screen. It is the hero's journey, which I won't explain to you, but you have heard the tale structure with the hero's journey as his framework at one point in your life. Granted, I haven't seen the film yet, so here I'm judging the story based on what I got from the game. Now, in Ratchet & Clank tradition, the villains are great. Drake and Dr. Nefarious takes the helm in the remake, and while they're very underused, they didn't have that much development in their respective games in terms of character interaction to begin with anyway, so it's not like it's a big deal. But it actually is kind of a big deal because they are very underused, and I don't like that. What's also really cool here is that Dr. Nefarious is in his humanoid form before he became a cyborg, which was mentioned in Ratchet & Clank 3. It's a nice little touchback to Quark's B story in Ratchet & Clank 3. Sadly, the 5-minute attractions here are the only ones memorable to me. There are two other Galactic Rangers, which are very colorful in their presentations, but not very colorful with their personality. Also, there's the mechanic. She's cool, but is still a token character by every definition. Again, there'll probably be more to chew on in the movie, which I haven't seen yet because it hasn't gotten a premiere date in Norway as of writing this. But for a kids movie, you can't go wrong with these types of characters. They all have colorful personalities and are well presented and respected to their portrayals in the original games. Now, with it being a remake, you'd think they just carried over the original guns, but no. The arsenal has been upped for the remake. Honestly, no pun intended there. The punchline titles were the proper thing in Europe until size matters after all. But yeah, the weapons are truly the highlight of the game, just like in every other Ratchet & Clank game. The upgrade system is great, as well as are all the weapons. Upgrading a gun feels like better firepower, not to mention the new fan favorite, the Pixelizer. When this was showcased in that one gameplay trailer, you squeal, just be honest. You get the Sheepinator, the Buzzblade gun, it's all very Ratchet & Clanky. The weapons are great, you'll have fun with them. Not a whole lot to say about that. Oh yeah, and the Rhino is back, because of course it is. You can obtain it through collecting things called holo cards that you'll find on different planets. It's like collecting the parts for the Rhino in Tools of Destruction. And yeah, the Rhino here is just as awesome as all the others. Collect the card, get the Rhino, profit. The Golbos are also back and they unlock extras. pretty cool. I honestly don't think I have a lot more to say about this game at this point. This game is very much the standard Ratchet Clank formula ported to the PS4 with an up graphical picture. It is, however, one of the best PS4 games I've played. Everything works grand, and for that low price tag, you can't go wrong. So to summarize Ratchet Clank on the PS4, it's pretty fucking good. Now just sit back and watch some movie.
I don't even know what I just saw.
You saw a made-for-TV Nickelodeon movie.
That is exactly what this looks like. And it's in